Every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., Emily Carter woke up from the same dream. The same old house. The same locked red door. The same woman whispering her name. And every time Emily reached for the door handle, she woke up crying. For most people, a repeated dream is just stress. Too much coffee. Too much work. Too many bills. But Emily's dream was different. Because one morning, while helping her mother clean the attic, she found an old photograph. In the photo was the house from her dream. The exact same house. The exact same red door. And standing in front of it was Emily's mother, 30 years younger, holding a baby Emily had never been told about. Emily Carter was 32 years old. She worked as a wedding photographer, which meant she spent most weekends capturing other people's perfect love stories while eating cold cake in the corner. Her own life was far less romantic. Her plants were dying. Her car made sounds no mechanic could identify. And her dating life was so quiet that her best friend Mia once asked if Emily had accidentally put it on airplane mode. Emily was normal, funny, hardworking, a little sarcastic, and very good at pretending she was fine. But every night, the dream returned. She stood in the rain outside an old farmhouse. The windows glowed with warm yellow light. A wind chime moved, though there was no wind. At the end of the hallway was a red door. Behind it, someone softly cried. Then a woman's voice whispered, "Emily, remember." Emily would reach for the handle and wake up again and again. At first, she blamed stress, then caffeine, then true crime podcasts. Finally, Mia suggested, "Maybe your subconscious is trying to tell you something." Emily replied, "My subconscious could send an email like a professional." But deep down, she knew the dream was not random. It felt like a memory that did not belong to her. A week later, Emily visited her mother, Margaret. Margaret was a quiet woman who treated emotions like unpaid bills, best avoided until absolutely necessary. She lived alone in a neat little house where every curtain matched and every family topic ended before it began. Emily was helping her clean the attic when she found a dusty wooden box. Inside were old letters, faded birthday cards, and photographs Emily had never seen. Then she found it. A photograph of the farmhouse from her dream. Her hands went cold. The red door was there. The wind chime was there. Even the broken fence. But the most shocking part was her mother. Young Margaret stood in front of the house, looking tired and scared. Beside her was a man Emily did not recognize. And in Margaret's arms was a baby. Emily stared at the photo. "Mom," Margaret turned. The moment she saw the picture, her face changed. Not sadness. Not surprise. Fear. Emily held it up. "Why have I been dreaming about this house?" Margaret took the photo from her hand. "That was a long time ago." Emily laughed nervously. "That's not an answer. That's what people say before revealing they once joined a cult." Margaret did not smile. Instead, she placed the photo back into the box and said, "Some things are better left alone." But that night, Emily dreamed again. Only this time, the red door opened slightly. And behind it, she heard a child's voice whisper, "Find me." The next morning, Emily told Mia everything. Mia listened carefully, then immediately opened her laptop. Emily frowned. "What are you doing?" "Solving your haunted family mystery." "Please don't call it that."
Fine.
"Your emotionally suspicious farmhouse situation." Mia searched old property records, newspaper archives, and forgotten local forums. After 3 hours, 2 coffees, and 1 argument with a printer, they found the address. The farmhouse was located in a small town called Briar Glen, 2 hours away. Emily hesitated. Mia grabbed her keys. "We're going." Emily blinked. "Just like that?" "Yes." "What if it's dangerous?" Mia looked serious. "Then we leave dramatically." Emily sighed. "You watch too many movies. And yet you came to me because your dreams have plot structure." By noon, they were driving toward Briar Glen. The further they went, the stranger Emily felt. Road signs. Trees. A gas station with a cracked blue sign. Everything felt familiar. Not like she had seen it before. Like she had forgotten it. The farmhouse stood at the edge of a long dirt road.
Old.
Abandoned, covered in ivy, but unmistakable. Emily stepped out of the car and nearly lost her breath. It was exactly like the dream. The red door, the broken fence, the rusted wind chime. Mia whispered, "Okay." Officially creepy. Emily walked toward the house. Each step made her heart pound harder. Inside, dust covered everything. Furniture remained beneath white sheets. Family photographs had been removed from the walls, leaving pale rectangles behind. At the end of the hallway stood the red door. Emily stared at it. Mia held up a flashlight. "Do you want me to open it?" Emily shook her head.
No.
"I think I have to." Her hand touched the handle.
Cold.
She turned it. The door opened. Inside was a small nursery. Old wallpaper. A broken rocking chair. A music box on the shelf. Emily stepped forward. The music box began playing by itself. Mia jumped. "Nope. Absolutely not. That box is possessed by childhood trauma." Emily picked it up. Inside the music box was a folded note. The handwriting was delicate, almost faded. It read, "If Emily ever remembers, tell her the truth." At the bottom of the note was a name. Clara Whitmore, a neighbor. Emily and Mia found Clara living in a small cottage nearby. She was 80 years old, sharp-eyed, and clearly not impressed by visitors. When Emily mentioned Margaret, Clara's expression softened. "You look like her." Emily asked, "My mother?" Clara shook her head.
No.
"Your aunt." Emily froze. "I don't have an aunt." Clara looked at her with deep sadness. "Yes, you did. Her name was Rose. She was Margaret's younger sister.
Kind. Wild.
Always laughing. The kind of person who made every room warmer." Emily sat silently as Clara told the story. Rose had lived in the farmhouse with Margaret and Emily when Emily was very young. But after a family conflict, Rose disappeared. Margaret told everyone Rose had run away. But Clara never believed it, because Rose would never have left Emily. Then Clara revealed the final piece. The baby in the photograph was not Emily. It was Rose's daughter, a little girl named Lily, Emily's cousin. Emily could barely speak. What happened to her? Clara's eyes filled with tears. She disappeared the same night Rose did. Emily returned home and confronted her mother. This time, Margaret could not escape. Emily placed the photograph and note on the table. "Tell me the truth." Margaret looked older than Emily had ever seen her. For years, she had carried a secret so heavy it had slowly turned into silence. Finally, she spoke. Rose had fallen in love with a man the family hated. Their father forbade the relationship. Margaret, afraid of scandal and pressure, helped hide letters between them at first. But when Rose planned to leave with her daughter Lily, everything exploded. Their father threatened to take Lily away. That night, Rose disappeared. Margaret claimed she ran away because she was terrified. Terrified of their father. Terrified of the truth. Terrified of losing everything. But she had lied. Not because she knew Rose was dead, but because she did not know where Rose had gone. And she was too ashamed to admit she had done nothing to help. Emily listened, heartbroken. "So you erased them?" Margaret cried. "I thought forgetting would hurt less." Emily whispered. "It didn't. It just made the pain travel to me." For the first time in years, Margaret broke down. Not as a cold mother, but as a frightened sister who had never forgiven herself. That night, Emily dreamed again. She stood inside the nursery. The red door was open. The music box played softly. But this time, Rose stood by the window.
Young. Sad.
Smiling through tears. She pointed toward the floorboards beneath the rocking chair. Emily woke up at 3:17 a.m. She knew what she had to do. The next morning, Emily returned to the farmhouse with Mia and Margaret. Together, they lifted the old floorboards. Underneath was a metal tin box. Inside were letters.
Dozens of them.
Letters from Rose. Letters she had written after leaving. Letters Margaret had never received. Rose had not disappeared forever. She had escaped. She had taken Lily to another town. She had tried many times to contact Margaret, but their father intercepted every letter. The final letter contained an address. And one sentence. If Emily ever asks about me, tell her I loved her like my own. Margaret sobbed. For 30 years, she thought her silence had destroyed everything. But Rose had lived. And somewhere, maybe Lily was still alive too. Weeks later, Emily found Lily. Now grown. Living under a different last name. A teacher in a coastal town. When Emily met her, they stood in silence for a long moment. Two women connected by a story stolen from them. Lily had Rose's eyes. Emily had Margaret's smile. Neither knew exactly what to say. So Mia, standing nearby, whispered. Hugging is usually the correct option in family mystery endings. Emily laughed through tears. Then she hugged Lily. It was awkward at first, then real, then impossible to let go. Lily told them Rose had passed away years earlier, but had never stopped speaking of Margaret and Emily. She had kept every photograph, every birthday card she never mailed, every memory. The family was not healed in one day. No family ever is. But the truth had finally opened the door. And that was enough to begin. Months later, Emily returned to the farmhouse one last time. The red door had been repainted, the nursery cleaned, the wind chime repaired. Margaret stood beside Lily, holding an old photograph of Rose. Mia stood behind them eating snacks she had brought for emotional support. Emily lifted her camera. For years, she had photographed other people's families. Their love, their reunions, their beginnings. Now, for the first time, she photographed her own. Just before taking the picture, she looked toward the red door. For a moment, she thought she saw Rose standing there, smiling. Then the wind chime rang softly. Emily smiled. That night, she slept peacefully. No farmhouse, no locked door, no crying voice. Only a gentle dream of sunlight, laughter, and an open road. At 3:17 a.m., Emily did not wake up afraid. She simply turned over and kept sleeping, because the dream had done what it came to do. It had led her home.